Hey everybody, we are officially live for our final mentor workshop of the spring 2020 semester. By the way, thank you all for being here. I'm so excited to go through this final mentor workshop. We've got a lot of cool content to cover during this workshop. I'm really grateful to have you all here. I'm looking forward to getting started. We are going to get started in 9 minutes. So if you're watching the recording of this, please feel free to fast forward by about 9 minutes. We're going to get started then in this video. If you're joining live, please introduce yourself in the comment section. I'm excited to see who is here and who is participating. Really excited for you to kick off this mentor workshop. This mentor workshop, by the way, is all about helping your mentee find fulfillment and then ideally continue this relationship into the summer and how you can make the most out of that. We will cover that in this workshop. Really excited to get started. I'm going to grab the link and post it on the site. I hope everybody is doing as good as they possibly can be doing during this crazy quarantine period. Hopefully you're watching some good shows or you're spending some good time with family or yeah, you're making the most out of this crazy circumstance and situation. Whatever you're doing, wherever you're at, I hope you're finding ways to find joy and happiness in whatever you are doing. And I hope that you're finding benefit and positivity from these mentoring relationships because your mentee can really values this relationship, really benefits from having you as their mentor. And yeah, what you're doing is really impactful. And I just really wanted to let you know that. So we're going to get started in 8 minutes. So yeah, hopefully everybody is safe and healthy and happy and is practicing quarantining and social distancing so we can, as a society, get through this. So really excited to get started. Please introduce yourself in the comment section. I'm going to edit some things on this video. Perfect. That is all the information. Perfect. I'm just updating some notes on this video in the back end here. All righty, save. All righty, guys, I'm so excited to get started. I'm so excited to have this final mentor workshop. It's kind of sad. It's a little bit of a mixed bag for me. I love having you here and I love interacting with you in these mentor workshops. And so it's always kind of bittersweet when we're here, but it means that we've accomplished a lot. I mean, if you're here with me right now, that means you are, that you've gone through this whole mentor experience and that you're making the most out of this. And so that's awesome and kudos to you. We're going to get started in a few more minutes. Please remember to introduce yourself in the comment section. Ask any questions you have there as well. All right, we've got some more people joining us. That's excellent. Excellent. Please introduce yourself in the comment section. Yeah, we have got some good points to talk about. So tonight we're going to be talking about things like how to help your mentee find fulfillment, how to continue this relationship, and ultimately, how can you really ensure that you are going to start making some positive steps with your mentee, even after this formal relationship? Because ultimately, this is the spark. How I want to view this mentor program is that we're helping these students build a board of advisors. And you're one of those advisors. As their mentor, you are one of their people that they can go to for guidance and insight. And that's amazing. And that it doesn't fizzle out just because formally they're not in this program anymore. And so I really want to encourage you to continue this relationship with your mentee. Maybe it's not once a month phone calls, maybe it's once a quarter. That's okay. But having conversations, staying in touch is so critical. And by the way, sometimes it's okay to let the relationship, let some distance go between conversations. That's okay. As long as you're there for them when they follow back up with you. Maybe it's a year from now, maybe it's a couple years from now. Just being there for your mentee is so critical because it really can mean so much to them and really can make a huge impact on their lives and what they're hoping to accomplish for their careers. So just know that your impact as a mentor is so critical, and it really is a lot. So we're going to get started in 4 minutes. Excited to have you all here. Excited to get started. Look forward to getting this going. I'm going to take a sip of water to hydrate before we jump in. Yeah. So has anybody watched any good TV shows? Post in the comments section. Would love to learn if you are watching any good TV shows or reading any good books. I just started Creativity Inc. Hey, Gary, welcome. I just started Creativity Inc. by Ed Catmull. That's the guy who started Pixar. So I'm learning about the genesis of how Pixar was started. It's a really fascinating story of just building a company and, just going at it from a very unique and creative way. And I really like the story and the emphasis that he is putting in this book. Hey, more people are here. Welcome. Introduce yourself in the comments section. Excited to have you all here for our final workshop of the spring 2020 semester. I hope you all are making the most out of quarantine life. I know it's probably not easy. Hey, Sandra, welcome. I know that quarantine life is not easy. Staying home is probably tough, especially if you've got kids or if you've got dogs or if you've got any other responsibilities that you would not normally have had when you were working at a normal life and a normal pace. Now that it's put on your plate, kudos to you. You're doing your best and you're making the most out of it. And seriously, that's a huge credit to you for doing that. So recognize you're doing great work, and the fact that you're still staying in touch with your mentee and you're making the most out of this mentor experience is awesome. That is fantastic. That is excellent. You're really making an impact, and that's so critical because I think I talked about this in our previous workshop. Your mentees need you now more than ever. I mean, a lot of them have had their internships pulled. I mean, shoot, we don't even know if we can socially congregate by the time the summer starts. So there's a lot of things that these students are going through right now. And being there to just help guide them. And sometimes it's not even providing solutions. It's just being there to lend an open ear, lend a different perspective, lend a question that maybe they hadn't considered before, help them think of something outside of the box. I think, honestly, one of the best, I guess, things that I see from these mentor relationships when my team and I are facilitating them and learning about the outcomes is more often than not, it's not the advice that we give in these workshops or the advice that that we're providing in our templates on our website. Typically, it's something they collaborated on with their mentor that they realized was really, really cool and something they wanted to do, and boom, they took action and did it. And so I guess the point I'm making is, as their mentor, it's not necessarily having all the answers and saying this is what you need to be doing. It's coming up with questions and seeing what they can come up with, because ultimately they might be able to come up with something, an innovation that maybe has never existed before. And yeah, I don't know. It's pretty cool to see. I'll give you an example. A friend of mine owns a restaurant, and you would imagine, as you could imagine any restaurant owner in this time period, he is getting crushed. I mean, he's got to close his doors. Everything kind of is not great, but he didn't let that be his outcome. Instead, he came up with an idea. I mean, now it may seem obvious, but at the time was not obvious that he could do it. He started making hand sanitizer. And fortunately for him, he has actually done so well for his business that that he's actually, I think he's made more money in the last month than he has since the start of January. It's insane. He actually donates, I think, more than half of the hand sanitizer he makes just because his markup on it is so much higher. And so the point is that I love his story because it's a story of optimism and a story of innovation and thinking differently and letting go of old status quos and trying new things. And I don't know, I love that story. And I think as a mentor to a mentee, helping your mentee think about new ways to gain experiences when maybe they lost their internship or that full-time job that they had over the summer, helping them think about new ways to think about those things are so critical. And, maybe you spark an idea, maybe they spark an idea, but they need the support of a mentor to help them feel confident enough to go fully through with it. If you could be there for them for that, that's amazing. I mean, I know for me, one of the things that I've switched to is setting up executive mentor programs where I'll work with CEOs of companies or executive directors of organizations or HR directors of organizations, and I'll match them together for mentoring relationships because I know that people can relate to each other, help them through these tough times. And so that's one way that I've tried to innovate, and it's been cool so far. I mean, I've only been doing it for the last couple of weeks, but we have a handful of people that are interested in doing it. So I don't know. Sometimes when things are difficult and you can try to put yourself out there, you never know what you'll find out. Anyways, it is 7 o'clock, which means we are going to get started for the Spinal Mentor Workshop of the spring 2020. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being a mentor. I'm extremely grateful for you all being here and for being a mentor in this program, especially during this tough time. It's such a telling, test of your character when you not only commit to being a mentor in January when everything's fine and you don't even realize what could possibly happen, and you still a mentor with your mentee all the way through April when a crazy pandemic hits. Unlike anything ever seen before, the fact that you're still with your mentee and that you're mentoring your mentee and you're helping your mentee through this difficult time, and that you're there for your own self and your family and everything else going on is incredible. Don't let you sell yourself short. I really want to just give you kudos and give you gratitude to let you know how grateful I am that you are taking the time to invest in your student and just to be someone that can be someone that believes in them and give them some insight that maybe they hadn't considered before, or just be a sounding board, or just provide some empathy, because it's not necessarily having all the answers. It's just sometimes asking the right questions and being there to support them in their new ideas. I mean, right now, maybe it's just encouraging your mentee to be creative about getting experiences for the summer. Maybe it's about helping them maybe volunteer somewhere. If maybe they can't get paid, but they could volunteer to get some experience and get some insight. I don't know. There's a lot of things that mentees can do to make the most out of this experience, especially if they had an internship pulled because of social quarantining and distancing. Hey, Missy, welcome. So this workshop is all about how to help your mentee find fulfillment. Now, this workshop is going to be 15 minutes long, and then there's going to be about 5 to 10 minutes of Q&A if you have any questions. One big point that I really want to mention, and I really want to make a big point of mentioning this, is please remember to input your feedback of your mentor meetings on the Ambition in Motion dashboard. Literally, if you just go to our website, ambition-in-motion.com, and then click the login button, you'll just input your username and password, the one that you used to sign up at the beginning of the semester, and you'll be immediately prompted to input your feedback. There'll be 5 smiley faces. You just let us know how those mentor meetings went. That's just essentially how we know that you and your mentee have been meeting. It should take less than 2 minutes for you to do, and it just gives your mentee credit for their mentor meetings. That's how we are able to keep track, is that both the mentee and the mentor have input their feedback for the mentor meetings. So if you haven't done that, and you could do that, I would really appreciate it. If you have any questions about how to do that, email us at support@ambition-in-motion.com. We can answer any questions you have about logging in or providing that feedback. We can make sure that you are supported in going about doing that, but please go ahead and do that just so then we can give your mentee support on this. Also, at the end of the semester, so by May 10th, we're going to open up the post-program assessment, which is just essentially allows us to gather feedback on how your mentor experience was with your mentee over the course of the semester. If you could complete that, that just gives us some great feedback to let us know how we are doing, what we can do to improve, and ultimately, how your experience was. And we'd love to have you again be a mentor in the program again for next semester in the fall. So I just want to mention that those are 2 upcoming task items for you to complete, ideally before May 10th. So during this workshop, we're going to cover how to continue your relationship with your mentee even after the formal program is over, how to help your mentee find fulfillment through what they are going through right now in their lives, and the questions that can help you stimulate that conversation, and the final step of this program for this semester. So let's dive in. The first key, and this is something that we've discussed every single workshop, but it is so important. It is the 3 keys to success in any mentoring relationship. That is strategy, story, and state. I want to help you get into that. So your state is the most important thing. Physically, how are you? You've been sitting in your house all day, or you've been remote, or maybe you are working because you are a necessary worker. Maybe you're working for a hospital or for a grocery store or for anything that's considered a necessary function. Maybe you're going out and working, but it's probably really stressful because it's very, very busy. What is your body language telling you? What is your physiology? What kind of state are you in when you are going into your mentor-mentee meetings? Are you ready to give energy, or are you taking energy? Are you stressed out? Are you sad, mad, dejected, angry? Or are you coming in saying, you know what, I'm going to make this work. I'm going to get into a power pose. I'm going to stretch it out. I'm going to get loose. I'm going to make the most out of this. I'm going to get into good body language and give energy in this relationship. Are you intentional about that? Are you getting yourself into a state? Well, fortunately, we can do that right now. So what I want you to do is, hopefully you're home. Hopefully you're not anywhere out. Even if you are, it's okay. I want you to stand up and I want you to shake it loose. I want you to shimmy it out. I want you to get your body and your blood flowing. I want you to scream at the top of the lungs. On the count of three, just scream. 1, 2, 3. Yeah! Just let it out. Let it loose. Let it go. Shake it out. Shimmy it out. Let it go. Let that blood run through your brain. Release the endorphins in your mind. Get your blood flowing, because that gets your brain ready to retain information. Put yourself into a state conducive for receiving information, and ideally get yourself pumped up, feeling good, no matter what is going on in your world. We got a lot of crazy things going on in our world right now. Get yourself into a good, positive state. That is something you can control on an everyday basis. That is something you can do before every mentor meeting you have with your student. That is something I'd strongly encourage you to do. The other thing is your story. What is the story you tell yourself? So are you telling yourself, hey, it's the end of the semester, or, there's really difficult things going on at work. I don't think we can continue this relationship. If that's what you're telling yourself, now, very well, logistically, it might be difficult to continue a relationship, but I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to challenge that story of ways that you can continue this relationship with your mentee, even beyond the formal mentor program. Because ultimately, how I view this program is that for this student, they're building a board of advisors. I want you to be one of their board of advisors. Like any company has a board of advisors, you could be their board of advisor. So I just want to ensure that you are continuing your relationship with them. This may not mean once a month phone calls. It could be once a quarter. It could be once every 6 months. It could be once a year. That's okay if some distance goes between conversations. But I want you to set an intentional focus about continuing this relationship beyond the spring semester. So one thing you can do to ensure that you're going to have some productivity for this, schedule a conversation over the summer. Schedule a conversation for the end of May or sometime in June. Do that in your next mentor meeting. I strongly encourage that, because what it does is it essentially creates an action item for you to look forward to. So then ideally it creates a pattern and a habit for you to continue this relationship beyond just the spring semester. I just want to encourage you to tell yourself a story for why this relationship can continue and why this relationship can be valuable. Because here's the thing, the student is not here for a transactional metric. They're not here just to get an internship from you, or just to get your advice on how to help them land a job or help them get into a graduate program. They're here to build a rapport with you, empathize with you, and for you to empathize with them. And that ideally requires vulnerability and continuing the relationship beyond just the spring semester. So I want to encourage you to be intentional about ways that you can continue to be their advisor as they build their own board, as they continue to progress and develop into their own career paths. So the last part is your strategy. What is the strategy that you are leveraging to be a good mentor? Now, in this difficult time, these strategies are more critical than ever, because what was conventional before, what was, go on LinkedIn, reach out to people that are the hiring manager, talk to people that are in the role that you want to speak with. That is definitely an effective tool, but that might not be as effective right now because a lot of companies are not hiring as much. Are there additional strategies they can leverage? I don't have all the ideas, but you've got a ton of experience. Whether that means maybe encouraging them to volunteer, that's just one idea. By the way, that's not the end all be all idea. If you're struggling for ideas, leverage this as maybe some opportunities. Definitely using LinkedIn to reach out to people. Maybe just going out and looking on the internet, seeing if there are opportunities, having them leverage the skills that they have to maybe do some online work, some virtual work that might be helpful. Maybe going onto a website like Upwork and being a contractor on Upwork to develop some skills and to apply their work in a contractor type of role. There's a lot of ways to gain experiences. There's not a one-size-fits-all model for gaining experience, especially as a young person. Those are just a few ideas that I have. But like I said, I don't know everything, and you've got so many more experiences than I do. I think that there's a lot of things that you can suggest to your mentee that can really help them make the most out of this experience. So those are the 3 keys to success in a mentor relationship, just being open-minded to what can happen in this mentoring relationship. So continuing this relationship is so critical with your mentee, even after the mentor formal program is over. There are 3 key bullet points here. Schedule your next call over the summer. That's one good thing to do. Nothing sets a tone like taking action. By scheduling this meeting, you are conveying you want this relationship to last. Second bullet, ask your mentee how you can help them next semester, that gets them thinking about not only is this relationship a one-time thing, but it gets them thinking beyond this semester. And then third, ask your mentor if he or she is interested in connecting with anyone that you might be able to facilitate introductions. If you can help them connect with other people, maybe it's not for a job, maybe it's not for an internship, maybe it's just to start a conversation. That is a great way to expand their web of connections because they're just getting started in their career. They don't know that many people. And if you can help them connect with anybody, that could be a huge, huge difference between, helping them learn something that they didn't realize before. I'm in the middle of reading this book called Creativity Inc. It's by a guy named Ed Catmull. He is the founder of Pixar. And I just finished up the chapter about the time that he was working at Lucasfilm. Lucasfilm is the company that made Star Wars. So huge company. They were first of its time, computer graphics in their movies, the first company to do something like that. And one of the things that he had mentioned about why he got the job at Lucasfilm was that he and a lot of his colleagues had been interviewed. A lot of his colleagues that were already in the computer graphics design space in a very early time. This was in the 70s when that didn't really exist. Lucasfilm had interviewed him and a bunch of his colleagues. Now, at the end of the interview, the interviewer asked, is there anybody else that you would recommend for this role that you think that we should connect with? He recommended all of his colleagues, all the people that they already interviewed, but they already interviewed. Now, he had no idea that they had already interviewed them. See, he just said, I think that they'd be great in this role as well. I know that they're really smart. I know that they're really intelligent. I know that they're really well connected. I think that they'd be great in this role as well. So he was confident enough and selfless enough to recommend them. Now, when the interviewer from Lucasfilms interviewed the other people, did they recommend anybody else? The answer was no. He got the job. Why? Because he was selfless and confident in his own skills. And so you might be thinking to yourself, well, I don't know if I can connect my mentee with this person. Like, I think, I'm trying to work on getting a job from this person or an opportunity from this person. If you're thinking to yourself, like, I don't want to leverage a connection on this mentee, I want to challenge that thinking because I really think that the power, there's so much power in connecting. There's so much positivity in being selfless and recommending others for opportunities. There's so many things that can happen from that. And I just wanted to leverage that story from Ed Catmull, the guy who started Pixar, because before that, he wouldn't have even started Pixar had he not been working at Lucasfilm. I just learned the emphasis of it. Pixar was actually created from two of the co-founding members at Lucasfilm. One person wanted to name it called Pixar, which is a Spanish term for view. And then another person wanted to use the term radar. And so they combined those together to make Pixar. So Pixar and radar created Pixar. I thought that was really fascinating. But he would never have had that opportunity had he not been selfless enough and willing to introduce and recommend his other colleagues for the role that he was interviewing for. So I just think that was a really fascinating story that I wanted to share with you all. So let's jump into this final part, how to help your mentee find fulfillment in whatever is going on in the world. I've got a set of 5 questions that I love to ask that really help a mentee focus on what can be fulfilling in their life, especially when a lot of things seem really not great right now, really potentially dire. Here are 5 questions that can help them find some fulfillment in whatever they are doing or whatever they are pursuing. First question starts with this: what rewards await for you moving through this challenge? This is a great question because it helps put things into perspective. What rewards await from you for moving through this challenge? This is a big challenge going on. Landing a job, landing an internship during a national pandemic, a worldwide pandemic, is not easy. But what rewards await them? I don't know. Have them answer that for you. That helps them put it in perspective of what they are working towards. Like, why am I doing all of this? This helps answer that. Second question: what will be the cost of failing to work through this challenge? That is a flip of the first question, but what it does, it helps them realize the risks and the rewards. Pain is a much greater motivator than benefit. Like, people are much more willing to do things to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. And so by helping them, by asking them that question, what will be the cost of failing to work through this challenge, is such a great question to ask because it helps put things into perspective. It helps them realize, like, okay, if I don't do this, if I don't work on getting any experience between my junior and senior year, I may not land a job, or I may not get the opportunity that I want. I may not get into the graduate program that I want. I may not be able to earn the type of money I want and live the lifestyle that I want to live. Helping them work through that and think through the consequences. I know it may sound morbid, but it helps put it in perspective. It helps light that fire underneath their tush to get them going and do something about it and really strive to make the most out of it. That's a great question to ask. The third question is what might be the impact of your actions. This helps them kind of look at things from a more smaller, minor level. So they can start thinking, okay, maybe I can do some small steps. Because right now, if they had their internship pulled or they had their full-time job offer pulled, they may not necessarily know what they can do to get experiences. And they might not necessarily know what would be a good thing that they could do. They might think to themselves, wow, getting any kind of experience is daunting, is huge, is way over my head. I don't think I can do it. By asking what might be the impact of their actions, it helps them break it down into more bite-sized pieces of what can be accomplishable in a smaller dose of time and in smaller steps. That helps them really fathom, okay, I could do this small step and I could then do this next small step and then I could do this next small step. And by all those small steps, I can get to that big, crazy, hairy, audacious goal that I have set for myself. The fourth question is, what will be the impact of not taking any action? Same with the earlier questions, it really helps put things into perspective, because when you're looking at the big goal, sure, that's great, but it can be distant. It can be difficult to totally fathom what I'm doing now. By breaking it into smaller bite-sized pieces, if I don't do something smaller, if I don't do something really small right now, but that is a positive habit that can help me get to where I want to be, how can I actually expect that I'm going to get there? Asking that question really helps them really realize the importance of taking small steps, small positive steps towards getting to where they want to be. And then the last question, the fifth question, is what are you willing to commit to so then you can make a change? That is such a critical question, because that is the fulfillment question. That is the question that gets them thinking to themselves, this is what I can do. This is how I can hold myself accountable. This is what I think is reasonable for me to accomplish. And this is what I'm going to commit to. By asking them that question and getting them to answer that question, you are going to put them in a great position to thrive and make the most out of this mentor experience. So those are the 5 questions that I love to ask to help my mentee find fulfillment in whatever they're working towards right now. So this is our final mentor workshop. This has been awesome. It has been a pleasure working with you all this semester. You have done an amazing job mentoring your mentee. It's not easy, especially when a worldwide pandemic is going on, to do what you are doing, and I'm extremely, extremely grateful. You're doing a lot. You're lifting a heavy load, and it's not easy, but you're doing it. I would love to have you as a mentor next semester. And in fact, if you like, if maybe you're going through some difficult times right now and you'd like to get a mentor yourself, I'd encourage you to sign up for your organization's alumni mentee program. I think you'd really enjoy it. That could help you get a mentor from your organization and maybe help you work through some things that maybe you hadn't considered before. I think you'd really enjoy it, and I think you get a lot out of it, and maybe have some really good breakthroughs and really make some progress on your professional aspirations. We're going to open up that sign up next week, and we'll send you an email with all that information, both for the mentor signing up and alumni mentee opportunities. But I'd strongly encourage you participate. I'd love to have you there. I think you'd really enjoy it. By the way, you can both be a mentor and an alumni mentee. You can do both. I would really love to have you there. The final step of the program this semester is completing the post-program assessment and offering your feedback on each of your mentor meetings by going to the dashboard, ambition-in-motion.com. Click login. You'll be prompted to do all of it. We will make the post-program assessment available to you by the last week of April, and hopefully you can complete it before May 10th. That is kind of like our internal cutoff deadline. We'll extend it for a little bit longer if you need a little bit of time, but it really should only take you a couple minutes to complete. And that feedback would mean so much to us, because it will let us know what we can do to improve, what went really well, and it also gives your mentee credit for the mentor meetings that they've set up with you. Thank you again for being here. If you've got any questions, please post them in the comment section. I'd be happy to answer them. Oh, Julia, you just asked a question. What is the final day of this program? May 10th is the date that we would like to have all the mentor meetings in. But as I mentioned before, I would love if you could continue your relationship with your mentee even beyond that. As I mentioned, the goal is that we're building a board of directors here, and that you are their advisor. They're on their board of advisors, ideally for the rest of their life. And maybe it's not just, maybe you're not having once a month conversations. Maybe you're having once a quarter or once a year conversations. That's okay. But you're just there for them. And if you can set up those follow-up conversations, I strongly encourage it. But yes, May 10th is the end date of this program. If you need more time, just email support@ambitioninmotion.com. We might be able to extend it for maybe a couple more days, but not too much after May 10th. So MJ, got your message. We will contact you via email to see if what's going on with your mentee. Maybe there's some issues going on with their email and coronavirus, because maybe if your students off campus, maybe they've got limited access to their email. We will try to figure that out, MJ. Great question. Hey, Allison. Hey, Conrad. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really grateful for the work that you're putting in as a mentor, and I'm excited to have you continue this relationship with your mentor for the rest of the semester. And I'd love to have you in the program next semester as a mentor. As I mentioned, we will open up signups for next semester next week. You're all awesome. I'm really grateful for you all, and yeah, I'm excited to stay in touch with you. I mean, it says so much about you and your character, about overcoming adversity. A lot of the adversity that you're going through right now with your work, whether you've been maybe furloughed or laid off, or I know a lot of companies are reducing their pay. It's really difficult. But the fact that you are sticking with this mentor program and are there for your mentee says so much about you as a person, and I'm extremely grateful for that. So thank you. Really, really thank you. So I really appreciate you all, and I look forward to staying in touch, and I look forward to hopefully having you in the program for future semesters. You're doing some amazing work, and I'm extremely grateful. So if you've got any questions, please feel free to email support@ambitionemotion.com. I'm excited for you to continue this relationship and finish this mentor semester off strong. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening. And yeah, if you got any questions, please feel free to reach out to support. See you.